Alright.
Ain't nobody worried about her.
Okay. That'll make sense.
They all auditioning for my spot. You know that, right?
How old are you? You feel me? Like, you weird. Straight up.
You hoes want to sell, y'all just don't know how to sell it.
Ladies and gentlemen, stop scrolling right now. Because this is not regular messy, this is Olympic level chaos. Somewhere between a reality show meltdown and a leaked group chat that was never meant to see. Daylight, Chrisean Rock allegedly pulled up on Stunna Girl, and suddenly Blueface is the most disputed piece of property in hip-hop history. And no, this is not love. This is possession with a splash of clout and a gallon of ego. Because when one woman pulls up and another woman doesn't back down. You already know this isn't ending with a calm conversation and herbal tea. This is giving. Security called, live streams paused, and everybody suddenly has a story. This makes the Kardashians look like they resolve conflict with post-it notes. And here's the wild part, nobody's denying it. Nobody's clarifying it. Everyone's just posting, subtweeting, going live, and letting the internet do what it does best. Pour gasoline on a spark and call it entertainment. Somebody accused somebody of stealing Blueface. Somebody allegedly pulled up. And suddenly timelines are split like a civil war nobody asked for. This feels like a secret got leaked, receipts are loading, and the truth is somewhere between ego, attention, and a man who somehow stays in the center of every storm like it's his full-time job. This whole mess didn't fall out of the sky. It crawled out of unfinished business, bruised egos, and a timeline that never forgets. Blueface has been the human center of gravity for chaos for years now, pulling drama toward him like a magnet nobody unplugged. And Chrisean Rock has never been the type to quietly fade into the background when emotions are still doing backflips in her chest. That combination alone already sounds like a warning label. But then Stunna Girl entered the picture, and suddenly, the internet smelled smoke before anyone even said the word fire. At first, it was whispers, subtle posts, likes that felt intentional, captions that sounded innocent but landed like subliminals, the kind of online behavior where people say nothing but somehow communicate everything. Fans started connecting dots like unpaid detectives, screenshots flying around faster than facts, and suddenly the word stealing showed up like it had been waiting its turn. Not talking, not entertaining. Stealing. Now let's pause there, because stealing is not a casual accusation. That's not playful shade. That's a declaration of war in internet terms. That's saying, you crossed a line that exists in my head, my heart, or both. And once that word hit the air, the situation stopped being messy and started being CONFRONTS. According to the online chatter that refuses to die. Chrisean didn't just clock the rumors and keep scrolling. She allegedly reacted the way someone reacts when pride, history, and unresolved attachment all hit at once. She pulled up. And when people say pulled up, they don't mean sending a paragraph-length text with emojis. They mean physical presence. They mean energy. They mean confrontation that doesn't need filters or captions. That's when the tone shifted. Because now this wasn't speculation about relationships. This was about boundaries being challenged in real time. Fans started replaying old clips, digging up past arguments, reminding everyone that this situation didn't start yesterday. It started when things ended without actually ending, when silence replaced closure and everyone pretended that was healthy. Blueface, predictably, stayed quiet. And his silence didn't calm anything down. It poured lighter fluid on it, because when the person at the center refuses to speak, everyone else speaks louder. Suddenly every look, every post, every absence became evidence. Chrisean supporters framed the pull-up as standing on business. They saw it as someone refusing to be embarrassed quietly. Someone demanding answers instead of accepting narratives. Written by strangers online, they argued that when emotions are real, reactions won't be polite. Stunna Girl supporters saw it differently. They saw independence. They saw someone refusing to be controlled by a storyline she didn't sign up for. They pointed out that Blueface is a grown man, not a stolen wallet. and that accusations don't automatically equal truth just because they're loud and right there. The internet split clean down the middle. What made it even messier was the timing. This wasn't happening during a quiet news cycle. This was peak attention season. Lives were popping off, influencers were bored, drama channels were starving for the next headline. And then here comes a situation that practically writes itself. The sarcasm online reached levels usually reserved for political scandals. People joked that Blueface should start charging appearance fees for drama. Others said Chrisean pulling up felt inevitable, like gravity doing its job. Some laughed, some judged, some defended with paragraphs longer than college essays. But underneath the jokes, there was tension. Because pulling up changes things once physical presence enters the story. There's no pretending it's just internet noise. That's one. Emotions become visible when egos feel challenged in real life, not just online. Old clips resurfaced showing Chrisean's emotional investment, moments where attachment was undeniable. Moments where walking away clearly wasn't as simple as people love to say. Viewers started reinterpreting everything with new eyes, acting like they'd known all along this wasn't over. Meanwhile, Stunna Girl didn't exactly disappear. Her energy stayed confident. Unbothered on the surface, and confidence, real or performative, always irritates people who are already emotional. Because nothing triggers insecurity faster than someone who looks like they're not worried at all. That contrast became the heart of the scandal. One side fueled by emotion and history, the other fueled by control and refusal to be rattled. And sitting in the middle of it all was Blueface. Somehow, once again, the price nobody can agree on the value of. People started asking the real questions. Was this about love? Or was it about pride? Was it about Blueface? Or about being publicly replaced? Was the pull-up about answers? Or about sending a message to everyone watching? Because make no mistake, this wasn't just personal anymore. This was performance, not necessarily fake, but amplified by the fact that millions were watching. Every reaction mattered, every move got dissected. And here's the thing nobody wanted to say out loud. The internet rewards escalation. Calm explanations don't trend, quiet conversations don't go viral. Pull-ups do, accusations do, chaos does. That's why this moment mattered, because once it happened, there was no rewinding it, no soft reset, no pretending this was just a rumor that went too far. By the time the dust started settling, it was clear this wasn't ending quickly. The pull-up wasn't the climax, it was the opening act. The first crack in a situation that was about to spread into memes, think pieces, and consequences nobody could fully predict. Once the pull-up entered the storyline, the situation stopped being gossip and started acting like a cultural event. This wasn't just people arguing in comments anymore. This was timelines freezing, group chats buzzing, and everyone suddenly pretending they were there or knew someone who was. The internet didn't ask for confirmation. It crowned the moment real and moved on to judgment. Memes flooded in like a tidal wave. Side-by-side photos turned into battlegrounds. One image would show Chrisean looking locked in, caption like she was ready to flip the script. The next would show Stunna Girl standing tall, framed as unbothered, unshaken, and unapologetic. The contrast alone became its own narrative. Like two completely different movies playing on the same screen, people weren't just reacting, they were projecting. Some saw Chrisean as the embodiment of raw emotion, the person who loved loudly and lost publicly. Others painted her as reckless, impulsive, and too invested in a man who treats drama like passive income. Meanwhile, Stunna Girl became either the symbol of independence or the villain of the week, depending on which comment section you wandered into. And then came the analogies. Because the internet loves to explain chaos by comparing it to other chaos. People said this felt like a reality show finale that forgot to end. Others said it was Shakespeare with Wi-Fi. Except nobody learns a lesson and everyone subtweets instead of monologuing. One viral post claimed this made celebrity breakups look like kindergarten disagreements over crayons. Celebrity reactions didn't help. Nobody directly addressed the situation, but the subliminals were louder than speeches. A well-timed laugh emoji here, a cryptic y'all wild there. A live stream that cut off right when things got interesting. Suddenly, everyone had an opinion without actually having an opinion. The outrage cycle spun faster. People demanded accountability from Blueface, even though nobody could agree on what accountability was supposed to look like. Some wanted him to speak up. Others said silence was his brand, and this was exactly why the chaos never stops. Every hour without a statement became another reason to assume the worst. And that's when the memes turned mean. Jokes about Blueface being a recurring character in women's trauma stories. Punchlines about him needing a warning label. Satirical posts pretending he was a limited edition item everyone keeps fighting over even though the reviews are terrible. The humor was sharp, but the undertone was brutal. Chrisean's emotional history became public property all over again. Old clips resurfaced with new captions, reframed to fit whatever argument someone was trying to win that day. Moments that once looked vulnerable were now treated like evidence. Her reactions were slowed down, paused, zoomed in, and psychoanalyzed by strangers with ring lights and opinions. Stunna Girl's composure, real or staged, became another talking point. People dissected her posture, her tone, her timing. Some praised her for not feeding into the chaos. Others accused her of provoking it simply by existing confidently. In the court of public opinion, neutrality is suspicious and calm is interpreted as guilt or arrogance depending on the angle. The situation snowballed because nobody de-escalated. Every response felt like a counterpunch. Every post felt intentional, even when it probably wasn't. And the more people reacted, the more the story grew legs and ran into places nobody originally intended. Pop culture comparisons kept coming. People said this was giving love and hip-hop without a contract. Others joked it felt like a streaming exclusive reality show with zero parental controls. Someone even compared the whole thing to a wrestling storyline where everyone knows it's chaotic but still tunes in because the drama hits harder than logic. And let's be honest, the internet doesn't reward maturity, it rewards spectacle. So every time someone chose restraint, it barely made a ripple. But every time someone chose emotion, the algorithm clapped like it was front row at a concert. Public outrage shifted targets hourly. 1 minute it was Stunna Girl's fault. The next minute it was Chrisean's responsibility to heal. Then it swung back to Blueface being the common denominator nobody wants to admit keeps winning by lows. The discourse got louder, messier, and more polarized. Some fans started acting like moral referees, deciding who deserved empathy and who deserved ridicule. Others abandoned nuance entirely and treated the situation like sports, complete with scorecards and imaginary wins. And while everyone argued, the core truth stayed uncomfortable. This wasn't just entertainment. These were real emotions amplified by millions of eyes. But the internet doesn't pause for emotional processing. It scrolls, it laughs, it screenshots. By now, the scandal wasn't about the original accusation anymore. It had evolved into something bigger, a referendum on loyalty, ego, and what happens when private conflicts become public currency. The pull-up had done its job. It forced attention, it demanded reaction, and it ensured that no matter how this played out next, nothing would ever return to before. By the time the noise started settling, one thing was painfully clear. Nothing was actually resolved. The pull-up didn't bring closure. It cracked the situation open wider and let every unresolved emotion spill onto the internet like a slow-motion car crash nobody could look away from. This wasn't the end of the scandal. This was the moment it became permanent. Lore, reputations took hits in different ways. Chrisean Rock, once again, found herself framed as the emotional one, the person whose feelings are always dissected instead of understood. Supporters argued she was reacting to disrespect in real time, not playing chess, but responding like a human being with a memory. Critics said the pull-up reinforced a narrative she's been trying to escape: impulsive, reactive, too tied to chaos. And just like that, her growth became a debate instead of a journey. Stunna Girl walked away with a different kind of scrutiny. Her calmness became controversial. Her refusal to spiral turned into suspicion. People questioned whether composure was strength or strategy, whether silence was maturity or provocation. In a culture that confuses loudness with honesty, staying cool under fire doesn't always earn praise. Sometimes it just invites sharper knives. And Blueface, he remained exactly where he's always been, at the center, without standing anywhere. Somehow untouched, somehow blamed, somehow still relevant. The man has mastered the art of being the storm's eye, where chaos spins wildly around him, while he stays oddly untouched by the debris. People called him manipulative, others called him careless. Some said he thrives off attention like it's oxygen. But no matter the label, one truth stayed consistent. Drama follows him like a shadow that refuses to leave. Public perception hardened. Casual viewers who once shrugged at the mess now started assigning long-term meaning to it. This wasn't just a relationship issue anymore. It became a case study in public attachment, ego collisions, and how unresolved emotional ties age badly. Under a spotlight, brands, collaborators, and industry watchers notice too, not because they care about feelings, but because controversy has a shelf life. Some see exposure as opportunity. Others see volatility as risk, and when situations spiral publicly, people behind the scenes start calculating quietly. The internet, of course, moved on, but not fully. The memes flowed, but the narrative stuck. Anytime one of the three names trended again, people dragged this moment back up like it happened yesterday. Screenshots don't expire. Clips don't forget. Context rarely survives. And here's the uncomfortable clarity nobody wanted to say out loud: pulling up didn't secure loyalty. It didn't settle ownership. It didn't win a prize. It simply confirmed that unresolved emotions don't disappear just because people stop talking about them. They wait. They ferment. And when they resurface, they do it publicly and violently. This situation also exposed how the internet rewards pain. Vulnerability gets views. Confrontation gets clicks. Healing gets ignored unless it's dramatic enough to entertain strangers. And when people perform real emotions in public spaces, the audience starts feeling entitled to outcomes. The aftermath wasn't explosive. It was lingering. A slow burn that leaves discomfort instead of closure. The kind of fallout that doesn't scream but whispers every time someone goes live, posts a caption, or avoids a question. Fans started speculating about what happens next. Reconciliation. Another confrontation. A bigger fallout down the line. Nobody knew, but everyone assumed. The story wasn't finished. Because history says these situations don't end cleanly, they pause, reload, and resurface louder. And the most ironic part, the accusation of stealing never actually needed proof to cause damage. The narrative alone was enough, because in the court of public opinion, perception outweighs facts, and emotion outruns logic every time. What remains now is a cautionary tale wrapped in entertainment packaging. A reminder that when love, ego, and attention collide under a spotlight, nobody walks away untouched. They just carry the marks differently. As the dust settled, the audience was left with more questions than answers. Was this about Blueface? Or about pride? Was it about love? Or about refusing to be replaced publicly? Was the pull-up an ending? Or just a warning shot? One thing is undeniable. This wasn't random. It was the result of unresolved history colliding with internet culture's obsession with spectacle. And once that collision happens, there's no undo button. Because in this world, scandals don't end, they evolve, and the next chapter is always loading, whether anyone's ready for it or not. And now here's where you come in. Because let's be real, this mess didn't end it. Just hit pause. If you're sitting there thinking this was just another celebrity spat, you haven't been paying attention. This was ego, history, pride, and internet culture colliding at full speed with no seatbelts on. and the wildest part. This is exactly how the next scandal always starts, so don't act shocked when another live pops up, another accusation slips out, or another accidental post sends timelines spiraling again. You already know how this goes. One calm day, then boom, chaos reloads. Now smash that like button like it owes you money. Because if you felt even slightly entertained, confused, or stressed for people you don't even know, you earned it. Drop a comment right now and tell me who you think really won this situation, or if anyone won at all. Was this about Blueface? Or was this about pride colliding in public? Say it with your chest. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button before the next scandal breaks, because over here we don't wait for drama, it finds us. While other channels play catch up, we break it down, flip it sideways, and call out the nonsense with zero filter and maximum sarcasm. Turn on notifications too, because the internet never sleeps, and neither does celebrity chaos. The moment a receipt drops, a live explodes, or someone accidentally tells too much, we're already on it. Remember, scandals don't disappear. They just change outfits. And this story, it's nowhere near finished. Stay locked in, stay messy, and stay watching, because this is celeb insanity, where drama doesn't cool off. It levels up. It levels up.